I'm Laura, and I'm 37 years old now in 2018.
I'm Nikki, 35 years old. I'm Dutch, and I'm Laura's sister. Laura used to have different names. That's why it's written different. For this movie, I already made part 1, part 2, and part 3.
It's at the post office.
There's like a couple reasons why I make this video.
I think Laura was 3 months when we got tickets and decided to go to Pat and Fred.
I always knew that I had a sister.
Okay, it is October 20th at 8 o'clock, and we have Nikki. This is Laura's sister, who she's about to meet her sister for the first time.
I'm making this video because, first of all, I wrote like a whole diary to my sister that I wanted to give her. But it looks stupid to give a diary in Dutch while she can only speak English. That doesn't make sense. A second reason is because, well, that's so sad, and I don't want to say that. The adoption didn't went very well, except like it turned out very well, but it's not like the papers didn't turn out very well. And so she has to go to court or whatever to make sure that she is now legally in the United States.
And it really, like, the adoption part was legal, but the way that they brought me over, like, they brought me over on a visitor's visa and not an adoption visa, like the intent to adopt it out.
Well, Laura came in when she was 3 months old. And the only thing her adoptive parents did was they just didn't fill out one set of papers, you know, and obviously under that set is multiple pieces of paper, but they just didn't fill out those forms. You know, the reasoning at this point isn't really relevant, but they chose not to fill out those forms. That's the reason why she doesn't have citizenship in this country. It's an issue that should have never been an issue for her.
And she can come to visit me in the Netherlands while she really wants to. And so I hope maybe for making this video is sort of proof, like, I don't know, not that all movies are proof, it's a true story, but I don't know, but maybe it makes people like think about, okay, we really need to help her, because it's just the paperwork, you know, just give her the paper with the sign and it's done.
I don't ever remember a specific time when I was told I was adopted, because I think it just was always known throughout my whole growing up that my mom just always had told me I was adopted. So there wasn't a specific instance that she was like, oh, and now you're adopted.
Before we got to Portland, it took us 4 or 5 flights. And we had that baby, you know, and then we went up 4 times in the air and down again, and up again and down again. Everything seemed to be against us at that moment. I remember Alabama, and then another flight up the north, and then to the south again, and then finally they booked us over to Portland. In the end of the whole ride, of course, Anneke, she was hallucinating again. She had the voices in her head. Pat and Fred took her to the psychiatric hospital. She was not allowed visitors. So I didn't speak to her for 10 days. And Pat and Fred were taking care of Laura. After them 10 days, Anneke said, well, I'm all right now, huh? You know, the voices have gone. They give me medicine. It became quiet in her head again. She was all right. I wrote that letter to my parents.
Dear Mom and Dad, June 18, 1981. I didn't tell you something I want to tell you now. Anneke was very sick when we arrived. She had a psychosis again and had to go to the hospital. We know now that we are not ready for the responsibility of a child. We aren't married long enough
First, we need to find a house, find a job, and be happy. Patricia and Fred can take care of Laura. We want to give her to Patricia and Fred. Mom and Dad, for sure you will have a lot of questions. Please write us back, Anneke and Frank.
Well, we didn't say adoption, but let's give Laura to Pat and Fred. So it wasn't like anyone talked her into it or so. That's the only way I wanted it, if it was her own decision and she was in a sane sort of mind, as far as I know her. No hallucinations anymore. She was just so afraid they would come back. It was too risky for Laura, or I'm not sure what her decision made it, but I think we felt at that time a very heavy load from our shoulders, a very heavy responsibility just left us, and we, and actually, came more to, came more to just being ourselves. That, the pressure of everything, of having the baby, just left us, and we were thinking, well, Pat and Fred can take care of her maybe sometime, and we'll live close to them, visit Laura as much as we want. It was something like that, It was going to be the four of us raising Laura. That was my idea, but nice idea, but it didn't work out that way. They were so attached to Laura, they didn't want to give her back. That was kind of their excuse to kind of speed things up and get custody over Laura. We both said, no, it's okay, you have her. Fred did give us some space. Are you very sure? Are you sure? I said, yeah.
I think, them giving me up for adoption, I know that we've talked about this a lot, especially in the past, not really anymore, but I really feel like it was meant to be. My life now would never be the same without living here. I would not be that person who I am. I would not be the mom that I am. I would not have my children, my husband. I really feel like there was a plan. God had a plan for my life, and it was to be adopted over here for whatever reason. Anneke and Frank really couldn't take care of me.
So the day we left to get the paperwork done, I said, okay, I'll drive behind you. I think Laura was in that car, and that's why I kept driving behind him, because, Laura was in that car, I've got to follow him. Fred was driving so fast, going through that traffic, that I lost him. I said, that's it then, no lawyer, no adoption. But after a while, I did see him again on the road. If I didn't see his car again, I wouldn't have done it. So then I decided, to follow him. But things just happened as they happened, I suppose. It had to happen that way.
My mom always told me that I was special for being adopted, that because I was chosen rather than just born. So,
What I call the beatnik.
The beatnik,
I remember the first time they came up, I was a postmaster of a little bitty post office. And they walked up, in their little Dutch accent, and they were looking for a place to camp. Why don't you guys come to my house? I'll feed you some good food, take a shower, you can sleep inside where it's warm. And 3 weeks later, they were still there. Because we just had so much fun. I mean, it was just taking them here and taking them there. And, everything was a new experience for them. And I remember the first letter you sent that when Annika was pregnant.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, oh, you guys are gonna make the cutest little babies. Remember me telling you that?
Yeah.
Just before you left at the post office. I looked at both of you and I was like, you'd make cute babies. And you looked at each other like, really? That sounds like a new idea.
Adults too, though.
And they did. They made beautiful babies.
There they are.
And here they are together. And that's just awesome.
I think that they had like just a different side because they were a couple and they wanted to have kids. And they were looking for adoption and they couldn't find it, like because they had their own history. And they feel like, oh, there is a young couple comes over here, is sick, that cannot take care of this kid.
Yeah, like
and
dropped in their lap, yes.
Yeah, that's like how they feel it.
Yeah.
And then Anneke and Frank feels it different. They thought like, oh, everything was better over there. We go over there because we had so much fun there, traveling around, and you know, maybe we can raise our kid there, and we have very good friends there, and that's like what they thought. So, and then the sickness of Anneke, I think that made it too difficult and not be able to make any good decisions. So I think that's like the decision that they all came up with. Yeah.
And we went back home, said goodbye, and we went back home without Laura. That was terrible. Yeah. The actual flight went okay, but you know, like I'm not sure about any real facts after that.
Ze belde me op. We lagen in bed en het was 4 uur 's nachts. We zijn nu in New York en we komen met de volgende vlucht naar Nederland. Ik zeg, en hoe is het met Laura? Hoe is het met Laura? Of hoe doet Laura het? Ja, nee, Laura komt niet mee. Nee. Ja. Daarna is niet veel meer gezegd. Hè? Zo. Ja. Het was zo'n enorme schok dat ze niet meekwam, dat het daarna alleen maar... Ik heb Anneke niet kunnen zeggen hoe erg ik het vond. Of we hebben daar nooit echt goed over kunnen hebben.
When we came back to Holland, the first thing Anneke's dad said, well, I'm going to get her back. You know, I'm going to go over there and get her back. But Pat and Fred stopped contact in the letters after that for a while. It was difficult that time. People said, what the hell have you done? Huh? Like, of course, thinking we're crazy or so. Some people said we sold the baby. I said, oh, you must have got money for her or so. Yeah, that hurt. Yeah. It didn't take long before Anneke went sick again. For a moment I thought, well, I'm finished with Anneke, eh? You know, like we're splitting up from here. Couldn't be without each other. Can't be with or without each other, huh? Sometimes. Huh? It's a difficult time. She said she went to get help. That was in those days, the RIAG. I think maybe I told you before, like they gave Anneke the advice, well, try to forget about Laura or try to do your best to get her back from the whole adoption thing, which Pat and Fred were not likely to do, I know that. Anneke didn't give up hope from that. And they said, in the meantime, have another baby.
Serious?
Yeah. Good thing.
Otherwise, Nikki wouldn't have been here, right?
Ja.
Yeah, so thanks to the RIAG.
Yeah.
Maybe if I would have stayed in the family, like I wouldn't have had the same life you had because you were like the next one to come. You know what I mean? And so like, I don't know that because they were a little bit maybe more prepared because they're like, oh no, you're gonna stay here with us.
Nikki's birth, that's at least 1.5 years later. After 3 months pregnant, I think she started getting her psychosis back. And they had to take her in, but not allowed to give any medicine. Huh? So more or less they kept her under surveillance all the time, and I remember I kept visiting Anneke. The most difficult time was when Anneke was still pregnant of Nicky. We had to have talks with the social helpers and doctors about what to do when Nicky was born, where she was going to go to, who should take care of her, you know, and it couldn't be us. So we had to choose someone. I think we both thought, Anneke and me, best someone in the family if it's possible, eh? And Anneke has a big family, so, you know, there's...
Mama had gevraagd of er de kinderbescherming bij mij mocht komen. Vroegen ze dus of ik voor die baby wilde zorgen. Eigenlijk 3 weken voordat jij geboren werd, hadden wij besloten dat we dat gingen doen. Roel was op zondag jarig, om 12 uur of zo. Belde Frank op om te zeggen dat Anneke gevallen was. En Roel had zo'n telefoon gekregen op zijn verjaardag, zo'n telefoon met batterijen en dan zo'n kabel ertussen dat je zo van boven naar beneden kon bellen. En Roel belde op die telefoon van dat die baby kwam logeren. Gewoon, Roel werd 4 en die vond dat natuurlijk ook wel iets. Ja. De volgende ochtend kwam Frank met die moeder en die vader. Kwamen ze jou brengen.
Yeah, I think that sort of Anneke wanted to do it over. You know what I mean?
Like, of course.
Like she's just like, okay, I messed up my That's like how it feels. She feels like she.
That's how I kind of imagine it.
Yeah. So I think that she might thought like, oh, if I have another child, I can take care of that one. But then she got sick again.
Like replace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she got sick again. So
like
that's like, that's like when the family said, and I think the mental hospital, like, oh, we need to make sure that this child is, you know,
safe.
Stay here so that somebody is taking care of me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were born in 1981 and you're born in
82.
Oh,
in December.
What's your
Mine's March. Closer to me, because so Nikki can do this.
Oh, are you recording, Nikki?
Yes.
Oh, we go do some of our finest work.
How about your disco?
What do you think of Laura and me? Do we look alike?
Oh yeah, most definitely. 100%. You guys have the same mom, same dad, and I mean I can't speak for, you know, the connection to Anneke because obviously I've never met her.
Frank.
Frank, 100%. Without a doubt, I can see Frank in both of you guys.
Do you think we think the same?
At times you do, yeah.
Even though we were raised in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
What can you see, like, what is the same thinking then?
That we overthink everything?
Oh, fuck yeah. Holy shit.